at a wedding. I'm literally hiding out in the staff hallway right now because when I walked into this wedding, that is when I found out that it is black tie. This is what I'm wearing. This wedding, I did not look at the invitation. No, because this video has me gagged. Cutting up her dress, hiking it up, and then turning the entire full length of it into a train as a wedding guest.
This is one of those moments where I'm like, yes, we're just girls, but we are also adults that are also being invited to adult functions where we know that there is a dress code. If they are inviting us, I think that the bare minimum bar on the floor is to read the invite. Am I wrong? Are you gonna sit there and tell me that I'm wrong? Hey guys, it's Briar and let's chat about it. So whether it's because love is in the air or it's just that time of year, it seems like everyone and their bestie is posting about going to a wedding at the moment. And while of course there is always the fun and silly and cutesy content that gets posted, there is unfortunately some, not all, but a mighty some nonetheless, that seems to have never read Wedding Etiquette 101, Wetiquette if you will, or you won't, because unfortunately amongst the lovey and or dovey content that gets posted from people attending weddings, there has unfortunately been quite a few, more than 2 nickels worth of examples where people post them at weddings, have story times, what they wore, and well, the internet calls them out, because it seems like somehow in the day and the age of the internet where you can ask your phone anything, people still somehow don't know wedding etiquette. I don't know why I keep saying it like that, I'm sorry. Wedding etiquette, they post about it and they will expose themselves to the masses, and well, as we know on the internet, yeah, people aren't afraid to share their opinions and people aren't afraid to kindly and or unkindly tell them, hey, that does not fly, that is a faux and or pas. And so because there have been a few examples of this on social media recently, I decided to gather you all here today so that we could yap about them together. So if you guys simply want to chat about wedding etiquette and how it seems like some people still have not got the memo, yeah, stick around and let's get into it. Now, as someone who has recently been a wedding guest herself, yes, all the rumors are true. I did in fact go to my brother's wedding. Congratulations to brother chats and sister-in-law chats in the comments if you want to do, but I feel like these examples just feel even more topical in my personal life, and I can understand that perhaps that is why my FWIP, my social media for you page, has been serving me such content, because I truly cannot imagine the logic and or reasoning behind some of these examples, having recently, yes, the rumors are true, gone to a wedding, especially when people put so much time and effort. As a guest, I feel like it is such an honor and privilege to go that I do feel like social media has maybe like warped our perceptions of what an honor and lovely thing it is to be a part of. And it does feel like, especially with the social mediaification of things like weddings, that maybe we have lost sight of that. I don't know. We'll yap through it all. We'll workshop it together, I'm sure. But with all of that also said, obviously this is not to be like, these are terrible people, I know them personally and I know that they're awful. Obviously not. I don't think that making a mistake or having a faux pas and like sharing it online makes you a bad person. It just means that you misread a situation and you made a mistake. But I do think it is interesting how these people really do share these mistakes online and to really just kind of expose themselves for better or for worse. But anyway, let's get into the first example. We have kind of one bigger story where there's a couple videos involved, story times, things like that. And this story definitely went super duper viral, millions of views, you get it. And then after that, we have some kind of smaller examples to yapper about. So for our first and main story, we go to a creator by the name of Daily Bears, who has just over 45,000 followers on TikTok, and I wouldn't put her into the influencer category. I definitely would kind of consider her to be a content creator and someone that has gone viral several times before the story that we are about to get into. Why do I say all of that? I guess because I do think it is somewhat relevant when posting things online to know, like, hey, is this person just kind of like entering the internet, the TikTok space for the first time, or are they somewhat acquainted? And I would say for Daily Bears, they are somewhat acquainted. I would say they're pretty acquainted with going viral. They have had quite a few different videos go viral before, and so all of that to say, and not to say like, oh my gosh, she planned this and it's so malicious and evil, blah, 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 but just to say, I think when you are aware of the TikTok algorithm and what could and would go viral, I would kind of think that on some level they would know that this could go viral and this type of a video would go viral and would garner, if it did go viral, quite a heated discussion. But anyway, I know but so much. So let's simply get into Daily Bez's video where she exposes herself for going to a black tie wedding and not knowing it was a black tie wedding. So her outfit, well, I guess one would say it's not black tie. So let's now watch the video that now has over 10,000 comments and 5 million views.
I'm at a wedding. I'm literally hiding out in the staff hallway right now because I've been having kind of a panic attack all night. Because when I walked into this wedding, that is when I found out that it is black tie. And literally every woman at this wedding is wearing a floor-length black gown. Not only is it black tie, but you're supposed to wear all black. Like, I asked my boyfriend what was I supposed to wear to this wedding, and he said, whatever, just something nice. It's a wedding. And I was already a little worked up because I have like a knee and a calf injury right now, so I have to wear flats, and I don't have any fancy flats. So I'm like wearing white Doc Martens, but let me show you my outfit. Every single person in this wedding, long black dress. This is what I'm wearing. Do you see this? Here's my... I look like a kindergartner on her first day of school. I look like a slutty church lady. Do you know what I actually look like? I look like some kind of cartoon character that got brought to life. I do not look like I'm going to... This is it. This is every person in that room over there. Floor length black gown, and this is what I'm wearing. I keep hiding because I don't want to ruin all the wedding pictures. I would not do this on purpose. I cannot believe I didn't know it was black tie.
And look, whilst I get that probably most weddings aren't black tie, I guess my question, and many questions that were in the comments, is like, what wedding dress code does her outfit suit? And I think specifically a lot of people definitely crashed out over the shoes especially. And so I think the first comment kind of sums up most people's reactions, which is, why were you wearing that to any wedding in the first place? And someone else saying it's giving 13 going on 30. I think that's actually a really good description. And like, I think this outfit is so fun for like a party or like some other kind of fun dress-uppy type event. But I think a lot of people were just saying like, even if you didn't know that this was a black tie wedding, is this outfit something that would fit under the wedding category in general and the wear something nice category in general, specifically with the socks and the docs. The socks and docs is where it really completely and utterly unravels. Because I get it, like this dress is quite like fun, like is it formal? I would say probably not, but I think the shoes definitely sent a lot of people over the edge. Like this comment says, why would you ever wear tube socks to a wedding? And also this comment, which I think is just the general sentiment, is what kind of dress code for a wedding do you think that would be appropriate for? And I think that's what a lot of people's just general reaction is. First is just like, oh, you weren't exaggerating, yeah, this outfit's definitely not giving black tie. But then once that kind of initial shock wears off, you're kind of like, okay, but what wedding would one wear this to? I'm so confused. You're confused. We're fucking confused. And again, like I said before, does wearing the wrong outfit to a wedding make you a bad person? No, of course not. And I think this is obviously her way of dealing with the fact that she knows she's made quite the outfit faux pas, and she knows that this is like, if she had more information, would she choose to wear this outfit again? no. And I think a lot of people just really struggling to understand how all of these decisions were made to end up in this outfit, and how, yes, maybe you can't wear heels, but so how does that mean we're wearing tube socks and the socks and dogs? And also, how would this dress in general kind of fit in with most weddings? Yes, if you had like a specific wedding theme that was like wear something kind of like a fairy or like retro, or something that kind of more specifically requested for this type of an outfit, I think is what people mean. But would this be kind of a default wedding outfit? I think a lot of people struggle to see how that fits. Like, I get that everyone has their own sense of style, and people aren't saying that you have to wear, something that is not you, that's not representative of you and your fashion sense to wear it to a wedding. I think you can still incorporate your fashion in many ways and still make it formal. But I think the main reason that this went so viral is because people were like, even if this wasn't a black tie wedding, like, what wedding would one wear this to? Like, when would you wear this to a wedding in general? And just again, the wedding etiquette 101, surely we all as humans and adults existing in society have enough common sense to kind of know when a dress like this probably would or wouldn't be appropriate to wear. And it's not saying that this dress is bad or that she should hide or not wear something that is her style, but dressing for the occasion and knowing what to wear for the occasion, a lot of people feel like there was a lack of common sense and the wedding etiquette 101 knowledge to show up to something like this. And again, like I said before, this doesn't make her a bad person. This isn't saying that she's evil or malicious, or like she said, she didn't mean to do something like this on purpose. But I think a lot of people hear that and go, but you put this outfit together. We are, yes, just girls, of course, but, you did dress yourself. Sure, the boyfriend was not that helpful, right? Like, he didn't say it's black tie, but he did say wear something nice. To me, nice is formal. I think if it was me and I got something that vague, I would probably have some follow-up questions. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you some follow-up questions? I need to know more information, especially when it's like the boyfriend or the partner's friends or family in this situation, like, because you don't know them as well, you kind of want to know, okay, so what's the sitch? Bim, bim, bim. What's the dealio? That video has over 5 million views and over 10,000 comments at this point. A lot of questions were raised. A lot of people were, can I ask you a question? Why did you wear the Dachshund socks to a wedding? And how did we not know that this was black tie? And just so many questions that this creator did make a follow-up video that also has over 5 million views. So a lot of people were really chomping at the bit to know the answers. They were desperate. They were like, I need to know how we got here. How did we get here? We're wondering why. So she made a follow-up video, and I probably will crop it down a little bit because it is kind of long, but I will just include kind of the main answers to the questions that we have, and who knows, maybe we'll stop along the way. We'll have a little yap throughout, we'll make it comfy, we'll make it cozy, we'll make it fresh, Ziploc, if you will. I don't know what I'm saying.
What's up, everybody? My name is Ashley Bez. You may recognize me from last weekend when I wore the wrong thing to a black tie wedding. And so what happened was I didn't read the invitation for so many reasons. The big reason is because my dog is sick, so I've kind of just been dealing with that, like going to the vet and home cooking meals and like hoping it's not something really bad. And like when there's something going on in your life, a lot of times like other things fall by the wayside. This wedding, I did not look at the invitation. It was a friend of my boyfriend's. Neither of us had met the bride. I'm trying to think of the last time I even saw the groom. I think it was like 6 years before the date of the wedding. He's very sweet. I did not know him very well. Clues that it could have been black tie. I did not see them. Did I look at the website? No. 100% on me. I am absolutely not blaming anyone for that. Like, that is my fault. I should have looked at the website. Like, that was a very stupid move. That was on me. But My boyfriend, he thought that black tie, like, bless his soul, he goes, oh, I thought black tie was women can wear whatever they want. It's like the one time men have to wear something, which I thought was really sweet.
Sure, that's very sweet that he thought that. Okay, look, I would never, ever, ever, ever try and minimize someone's pet or, you know, someone that you care about or love. Like going through something stressful when someone or something important to you in your life is sick, that is obviously very, very stressful. I don't, however, think that it is really a reason to not have taken 5 minutes to read the invite or to go to the website. And I feel like the admission of not reading the invite or of not looking at the website, this is one of those moments where I'm like, yes, we're just girls, and yes, we are on this earth for the first time, but we are also adults that are also being invited to adult functions where we know that there is a dress code and we don't know the people that well. So like, if they are inviting us, I think that the bare minimum, bar on the floor, bar in the basement at this point, is to read the invite. I'm call me crazy bananas, Briar, if you want to in the comments, but that's probably just my general bare minimum expectation. Am I wrong? Are you going to sit there and tell me that I'm wrong? But obviously I don't say that to dismiss the fact that it sounds like she is going through something that is really, really stressful and really, really upsetting. And I understand also can kind of cloud your judgment and maybe make you not think things through as clearly. And I can totally give her that grace. And at the end of the sleigh, like it's just an outfit that she wore to the wedding. It's a faux pas, right? It's a mistake. And as Dr. Hannah Montana obviously has said, everybody makes mistakes and everybody has those days. To be aware of how we made those mistakes, to avoid them, and to reflect back on how we got to that point in our life where we're in what looked like a supply cupboard or the coat cupboard, making a TikTok talking about how you look like a toddler. Like, yeah, at that point we are going to like look back on what got us to that point so we don't do it again, right? Like, I think that's the thing with mistakes. We're not going to sit here and be like, boo, tomato, tomato, this person, get out of here, you suck, this is the worst mistake in the world. No, but I do think it's important to reflect on like, how did we get here, and also just being a bit accountable of how you got there. And do I think it's funny or cute that her boyfriend didn't know what black tie meant? I'm trying to find it funny and or cute. Okay, let's continue.
So I live in New York. I'm an artist. I go to a lot of weddings where you dress up, but like you dress interesting. And I'm like not trying to be a dick. Okay, how do I say this? If you have a personal style, like that's okay. You just wear something nice. People were freaking out the most about the Doc Marten boots and socks. Again, I tore my calf muscle running. I can't, like the number of things that happened that led to this outfit. I tore my calf muscle. I put on a pair of heels. I was like, well, I can't walk in shoes that it feels like someone's like stabbing me in the calf. The only other shoes I own are running sneakers. Like everyone's like, wear cute flats. Don't own them. I own literally 3 pairs of shoes. So I didn't have time.
And so again, by her sharing this information, I feel like it does really paint the picture of there's a lot of stresses going on to cloud your judgment and to make you not think clearly. But if you're saying that the shoes you have is heels, docs, and sneaks, just because we can't wear the heels, does that mean we have to wear the docs and or sneaks? Like, surely if you don't want to go to a Target or a Walmart, surely we could go to a thrift shop. Surely we could go hang out with Macklemore. What is that guy up to these days? I think that there are definitely other answers. Online shopping. I feel like, from what I understand of America and big cities like New York, from what I understand is you can kind of like tipper online shop, get things pretty toot sweet. Could have just got some plain silver ballet flats. Like, ballet flats are so trendy at the moment. Could have got some plain black ones. Could have got whatever ones fit her style. And I think that is definitely like a point to make, is that, you know, to go to a wedding and to dress up is not to say like you have to look nothing like yourself and not wear anything that you feel comfortable or that represents your style, but like, it's still understanding your style and how that fits into different contexts. Right? Like, it's kind of giving parallels to the Office siren thing, where a lot of the influencers were really just trying to make their style be office wear. when in reality, we live in a society where there are kind of expectations of what is and isn't appropriate. Same with weddings. Like, it's meant to be a fun reason and a lovely reason to dress up, and that's not to disregard your personal style, but it is to adapt your personal style to more formal events. The way that she further describes what she owns is it sounds like she kind of didn't particularly have much that was wedding attire or appropriate, and like I kind of think that's fair enough. Like, unlike what the 2000s rom-coms told us, I don't have like a yellow beautiful gown just hanging in my closet waiting for me to wear it. Like, I'm not always going to fancy events, and I don't always have outfits or things to wear to such an occasion. I just feel like the rom-coms told us that we would be going to fancy events more. Where are they? Where are you? But it does definitely sound like in Ashley's case that, you know, she probably didn't have the right shoes. If she was in like a better headspace and didn't have everything else that she did going on, maybe she would have questioned the docs. Maybe she would have thought about, maybe I should get something online. Maybe I should go to the thrift store. Maybe I should ask to borrow something. Like, there are other options other than just buying things. If you don't want to just, you know, buy things. If, you know, that's kind of something important to you, there are also other options. We can borrow things from friends, things like that. Like, we can workshop it. We can find a solution to the problem, but it does kind of sound like she didn't have anything in her wardrobe regardless. I have more questions. Let's continue.
The other clues that it could have been black tie, the venue, it was in a bar in New York. I did not know that you would have a black tie wedding in a bar. I just didn't know that. I just assumed it was these like really fun casual weddings that I had been to in New York before. So I did have a panic attack when I walked in, like full on panic attack, like hyperventilating. My boyfriend had to like carry me to a table, guide me to a table. Thankfully our table was in the back. And then I was like, you know what? Like, it was once I actually started feeling better a little bit, because like I talked to a couple people. I was like, hey, I didn't get the memo. They're like, it's okay, you look cute, which is like a testament to the other people that I was around. Like, they didn't care. There were some like older women that like definitely were like, what the hell is this lady doing? Like, but they didn't say anything to me.
And please put a pin in the fact that she said it was at a bar, because a lot of people agree with her and are on her side for it, black tie and bar not working together. I didn't even know that was a thing, first off, but also that will come back around. So just keep that in your minds for now. But I would also now please love to know, what would you guys have done if you were in that situation? Because I feel like, I don't know if I could have stayed. I genuinely think that if, like, I'm just imagining I'm in New York, like could be shops or like a Target or something close that I could even just get different shoes at. Like, I don't know that I could have stayed, but also when she kind of describes how people react, like, I think it just is a good reminder of like, yes, these things become a big deal online, but in the real world, yes, you might have people that judge you, you might have people that think things but don't say things, and you might have people that will try and make you feel better and try and say that your dress is still nice and all of those things. And the real world reaction is always so different to the online reaction, and the real world reaction does feel a lot more proportionate, right? Because it's like, she did make a mistake. Yes, the mistake could have been avoided, and I feel like we've already kind of gone over that, and hopefully for her a big learning lesson. But it's like, when it gets taken online, that's when it becomes like, you're the worst person in the world, your dress is awful, blah blah blah, you know, like it gets taken to that next extreme, when in reality, like, she made a mistake. By posting it online, it became something that was so much bigger than her. But I would truly love to know in the comments what you guys would have done in that situation. Would you have left? Like, I feel like for me, if I realized I was that not correctly dressed, I couldn't have stayed. But I don't know if that's just like me and my reaction to the situation, and kind of under the assumption that you could go somewhere and fix it and change it and come back in time. But I don't know, I would love to know what you guys think. But also I think like it's a good reminder that the reality of what happened is she felt embarrassed, but you know, no one made her feel silly or no one kicked her out. Like, it did not end up being a big deal at the wedding, at least for her. Obviously just for her, it made her feel really embarrassed. And then obviously when it's gotten taken online, that's when it's become huge and become about like, when would you ever wear that dress to a wedding? But anyway, I just want to play you the next little bit from this video of her kind of talking about the dress and how people reacted to the dress specifically online.
And so once I was feeling like a little bit better, I went into a stairwell, because this was on the 3rd floor. I went into a stairwell and I kind of just like made fun of myself. I'm a comedian, like I have to make fun of myself. So I love that dress. I actually made it with my mom. She's like an amazing seamstress. We took like one of the tiers and sort of made this shawl, because it was like, looks like a fairy. I don't know, I like absolutely loved it. And I realized from the comments that no one else liked it. And the other comment, oh my God, the other comment. So someone was like, you shouldn't wear, like, why do you own this? Someone said, why do you own this? I own it because I like it. Like I dress a little bit like a child because that makes me happy. And as a depressed person, little things that make me happy are like wearing bright colors, wearing interesting patterns and fabrics. And I do that every single time I leave the house. And so when some people were saying, you like why are you even wearing this? I'm like stumbling over my words because I'm like getting panic thinking about how mean some of these comments were. And I responded, oh, well, I wore this outfit to a wedding last year and my friends liked it. And the responses to I wore it to a wedding last year were, no, you didn't. You're lying. Your friends are lying. You don't have any friends. And so once like that negativity came in, I was like, oh, there's nothing I can do or say. Like the comment section of this wedding dress video is they want to hate me. So I guess I just have to let them do it. And so I let them do it.
And I think that part of the video, and is kind of what she goes on to talk about for the rest of the video, really kind of unravels the deeper feelings and meanings behind how this video would have affected her, and how that dress was important to her because she's a creative person, and it's sentimental because she made it with someone she cares about, her mum. And so all of those things, like, you can see how this adds up to this video, from what I can tell, was her way of trying to cope with it and make a joke out of it and poke fun at herself. All of those things were her way of coping with it. By taking this online, it ended up attacking not just her outfit that, you know, I think we can all agree wasn't black tie appropriate. It ended up becoming an attack on her and her individuality and her style, and the fact that her style and the way that she dresses is to help with her mental health and how she feels about herself. And you can just see how when it escalated, it no longer felt about the outfit not matching the dress code, but about her and the way she dresses and like those things being bad. But I think she also acknowledges that if she knew the dress code, she would have worn something different. And I think that is obviously the sad and unintended consequence of her bringing this conversation online, is that because her style is so sentimental to her and so tied to who she is as a person, when that was being criticized and when people were saying that was inappropriate for the black tie wedding, it felt like people were saying she was inappropriate. And yes, of course, there were also people just being mean. But I think because of, you can see how much her identity is tied to that dress and how she dresses, it felt very personal. But I also think a lot of people just feel like it is an honor to be invited to someone's wedding. And we are adults and we are responsible for how we show up, how we present ourselves, and being prepared, be prepared. And so when she does acknowledge that she is aware that weddings have a dress code, and this could have been a very avoidable situation, and at someone's important day, I think that's kind of what hit a nerve for people. And I think that is why people were just not understanding or didn't understand how she came to that outfit as a conclusion. And I think a lot of people, rightfully or not, were trying to stand up for that bride and be like, when you're invited to such an event, you should put in the effort and check those things and be prepared and wear something appropriately, as we all read in Wedding Etiquette 101, as we all read in the handbook, in the silly little guide. But in a twist that no one saw coming, the bride herself actually made a video which has 8.5 million views. So this video actually has the most views, but obviously people were really wanting to know her perspective on the situation. So let's watch that now.
I do want to bring up two details. The first detail is that it was not a black tie wedding. It was black tie optional. I just wanted you to dress nice. But for women, I did say, you know, please wear a black dress or gown. The reason why I did that is because I think it's even more ironic with this whole situation. I chose that because I was like, you know what every person in New York has in their wardrobe? A beautiful black dress. Also, I do want to say that the wedding was not at a bar. I asked Ashley why she said it was at a bar, and she said that it was just to kind of create like a red herring. She didn't want anyone to kind of recognize it or recognize the location or the restaurant or, you know, try to inference who the bride was. It was at a 3-story Chinese Michelin star restaurant, one of my favorite fucking restaurants. Everyone's saying, oh my God, who has a black tie wedding at a bar? It wasn't at a bar. Sure, you guys are, you know, curious about proof of this, but I have right here, the guest book that Ashley signed with a comment about her outfit. I do not have any photos because she said she was steering clear of the photographer, but also I'm kind of beefing with my wedding photographer, so I don't even have any photos like of me yet. Shit happens, and it's kind of crazy to see like a wedding guest at your wedding posting a video about your wedding and then it like blowing up and then everyone having 1,000 different opinions about it. Like, oh, who does that? Or, oh, like they should have been more chill or this or that. Like, I don't know. It took me a minute to make this video really because like I'm not a really big person about social media or like putting my business on social media. It was just kind of not like shocking, but you know, it's just kind of like, holy shit, to see, you know, your wedding causing so much discourse. And I just really, really want to thank everyone who is actually being really nice to Ashley in the comments.
So I couldn't play the beginning of her video because it has Girl So Confusing, but I don't feel like too much context was taken out of it. It's kind of just her saying like she's not really on social media and it took her a minute to even watch it, but so many people were sending her the video that Ashley had posted. And I think these top comments definitely summarize how people took in this video, which was, moral of the story, it's not that deep, and yours was truly the only opinion I wanted in this entire situation. And then also this comment of, why are we not just blaming the man who didn't tell her the dress code? I do think that it's interesting, the whole situation with Ashley's boyfriend, and it's like, obviously he knew that it was black tie, but he didn't know what black tie meant. Should he have said, if he knew the words black tie, like should he have said that instead of just saying just wear something nice? Yes, but was it an impossible piece of information for Ashley to find out on her own? No. The general consensus is that this was a genuine mistake. This was not malicious. This was not her trying to wear something that was kind of looking out of place or trying to cause drama or a scene at someone's wedding. By being posted online, caused more drama than was ever had at the wedding. And I do think that that is interesting in of itself, how she was saying like it is weird to hear so many people talking about your wedding. And I think to me that was kind of a thing that kind of stood out where I was just like, maybe that is also something that Ashley maybe didn't consider, is that by posting that, she has turned this person's wedding into kind of something else and into this big drama. A lot of people in their lives, I'm sure, like know that her wedding is kind of surrounding this weird internet drama about the outfit that she wore. And I think a lot of people are just like, was it worth it? I don't know. It doesn't really feel like it was worth it. It obviously upset Ashley how people responded, and it really didn't have her intended effect of like, you know, making a joke and making light out of it and using that coping mechanism to kind of deal with an embarrassing and awkward situation. But now I wanted to move into some outfit examples that I would kind of diagnose in my silly little chair as like a main character syndrome outfits, because I think there's this weird thing, and maybe it's because of the social mediaification of weddings and of it becoming things for people to post, where people do end up wearing things that are not appropriate or doing things to their outfit that does kind of fall into that kind of main character syndrome mindset of like, I'm the star of this show. There's some sort of weird mentality of like, I'm trying to outshine the bride, or feeling like that's some sort of spotlight that you can fight for. Whereas I feel like if you have been to a wedding, news flash, no one's outshining the people getting married. Sorry, you just can't compare. Even if you're wearing the most magnificent wedding guest dress ever or wedding guest outfit ever, you just can't compare with the people getting married. And it's also not something I feel like we should be kind of grasping for. But I do unfortunately think that, you know, people see weddings as content and see these as like these big occasions. So at somewhere along the way, and this kind of mindset of being the main character in every scenario has led to some interesting actions at some weddings. So I have a couple of just quicker videos to show you guys some examples of that.
No, because this video has me gagged. Have you guys seen this? So this girl posted a video of her friend cutting up her dress mid-reception at a wedding, and I almost missed this part, because what do you mean a wedding guest is doing this? Cutting up her dress, hiking it up, and then turning the entire full length of it into a train as a wedding guest? I'm also cracking up because it looks like she did this in like the hallway, either outside of the bathrooms or something, but there's a guest back there maybe? I have now watched this like 100 times because how do I make this wedding about me? But the comments are frying me. So how exactly in love with the bride's husband are you? Pick me, final boss. I thought this was so cute and then I realized it wasn't the bride. Literally though, how do you do this and like think that this is funny and fun? And like, no shade to the girl who posted this, it wasn't her, but I just can't even imagine being like, hey girls, it's time for me to alter my dress as a wedding guest so everyone can look at me in this reception.
And I think this is definitely a perfect example of this kind of main character mindset warping like our perception of reality. Because like, yeah, of course, in your life, in your mind, in your sense of reality, your life is about you. But not in every moment of your life is it going to be about you, and that's okay. You are going to someone's wedding to celebrate them getting married. We don't need to be thinking up these elaborate plans to, you know, make a dress that is a black tie wedding dress as well, again with a black tie, but you know, as we've kind of established, a short dress, not particularly black tie. So it definitely would stand out, and it just does very much come across as like, I'm trying to steal the show. I'm having this big moment and this big outfit change and it's content and I'm the main character and I just, you know, brought scissors for such a silly thing. It just very much reads of how can I then turn this back into me, and how can I make this into content? How can I turn this into a show, into having multiple outfits, into this big hurrah? And then also, mind you, making the dress very much no longer fitting with the dress code. And as I'm sure you can tell by the fact that we're reacting to a reaction video to this video, not the original video, this did not go down well, and people very quickly were like, hey, so like you were at someone else's wedding and this just doesn't come across well. This is coming across pick me, inappropriate, making the wedding about yourself, and the video got deleted. It no longer exists in its original form. These kinds of examples is also why Ashley got the bad reaction that she did, because there are unfortunately a lot of people not reading the room when it comes to weddings and not knowing what is and isn't appropriate, like things that you feel like you shouldn't have to say out loud. People find things and it's like, well, you didn't say that I couldn't cut my dress in the middle of the wedding. Like no one told me specifically. And I think a lot of people will be like, well, because we didn't think we had to. But this next example of someone wearing something inappropriate, I think a lot of people got a lot of joy and satisfaction out of, because a girlie wore a white dress to a wedding where the bride was wearing a white dress. So, you know, inappropriate in that sense for sure. And well, the bride called her out.
Why are we wearing white? I don't know. Girl, it's a wedding. You don't wear white.
It's as simple as that. Everyone take notes. Men, women. If you've ever wondered if you've had a good friend, that's a good friend. That's someone who's honest. She like straightforward said, why are you wearing white? You're at a wedding and it's not your wedding. Why are you wearing white? Only the bride wears white. And the person who was telling her this said it nice. She was respectful. Like people who think that they're friends but then don't tell their friends something like this immediately in a kind way. She wasn't like cussing her out or anything. She wasn't causing a scene. She was just letting her know. All the people wearing white to like their friend's wedding, their sister's wedding, their daughter-in-law's wedding. It's not okay. It's not okay. Everyone clocks it. It's not like a funny thing. It's not like, oh no, she was okay with it. We're not okay with it. Unless you're her bridesmaid and she picked out that dress and it happened to be some shade of white. That's the only okay time to wear white. Other than that, we know exactly what you're doing and it's not cute. And to the woman who clocked it, good job. Good job.
And I think the overwhelming question that people have when they see someone wearing white to a wedding where the bride is wearing white, so ergo, therefore, in conclusion, don't wear white, don't do that. People are like, how can you not know? Like, it feels really hard to believe that this is an innocent faux pas. The internet has been around for a minute now. Like, people can very easily Google what is and isn't appropriate. It's very easy. Like, this is probably the most obvious and stated. You would have had to avoid society, social media, existing on the internet, just Googling what to wear to a wedding to not know that you shouldn't wear white. And I think her, I don't know, definitely came across as like a little bit sheepish. You kind of can get the sense that it's like, oh, I just didn't think I would get called out for this. I was just kind of trying to get away with this, because unfortunately, even in the big old year of 2025, we do still see so many people wearing white to a wedding. Why? And at this point, it's hard to argue that that is not intentional or malicious, and not in some situations stemming from this kind of like main character syndrome and energy ideas of like, even though I'm going to someone else's wedding, it's still about me. Like, how do I make it about me? It's very much giving like Kelly from The Office. The emergency is I look really good in white. It's just very hard to fathom that someone wearing white to a wedding where the bride would wear white wouldn't know that that's not correct, that's not appropriate, that's not all right. We're not Vanessa Hudgens saying all right, say okay, because it's not. And I think a lot of people just existing, scrolling and living, laughing, loving on the internet find it really baffling to see, you know, people having these weddings and these events where it's like, oh my gosh, this is meant to be about you marrying the person you love and sharing that with the people you care about and love. And yet we somehow have endless examples of people posting people being inappropriate, people trying to turn someone else's wedding into it being about themselves. And I think in the case of these kind of like main character syndrome examples, a lot of people just feel sad for, you know, the bride and just those general situations, like sad for the fact that the person sees someone else getting married and tries to make it about themselves, sad for the bride that they've invited or had to invite someone to their wedding that thinks like that and is bringing drama to an event that is meant to be, you know, joyous and happy and drama free. And I think a lot of people just on a lot of different levels feel kind of sad. And I think a lot of people kind of see this as like the manifestorial of how like social media and this kind of like main character, it's all about me mindset is kind of jeopardizing friendships, is kind of turning these events that, you know, we're supposed to use to celebrate our friends and be their biggest cheerleader, and turn it into like, how do I steal the show? How do I steal the spotlight? This kind of like rubbing your hands together of how to make it about me, when in reality, like, I feel like maybe as a society, as just a general thought, we need to get more okay and more comfortable with like things not being about ourselves and having fun and enjoying that, enjoying being a part of someone else's story, enjoying celebrating someone else, enjoying dressing up and going out and celebrating someone else, and that not taking away from you, but that kind of adding to who you are as a person. Who you are as a person is happy and excited for someone you know and care about getting married and having a very happy day in your life. And the fact that we even have to be like, news flash, hey, the 411 is, you can't and won't outshine the people getting married, and you shouldn't even want to try. Like, that doesn't deserve a pat on the back. That's just like common sense logic and reason. That is kind of the bare minimum, as we would say, reading the invitation, checking the dress code and being prepared. You know, I also feel like just having a thought back to the reading the invitation, like, does that mean, you know, we didn't check if there was a gift required? And like, how did you RSVP about the food? How were you able to avoid that information? It almost feels like people are treating it as like that is asking too much of someone to, you know, wear a dress code, and that's not asking you to forgo your personal style or buy something you can't afford, but to, you know, dress up and celebrate an occasion. It seems like for some people that's all of a sudden a huge ask. It just seems that all of these things that really shouldn't be too much to ask of people that you care about and want to share this type of a memory and moment with people. Like, I don't think these things are too much of an ask. I don't think in any of these examples we've come across like people getting married that are being unreasonable or unrealistic or unfair to the people that they're inviting. In these examples, they're just inviting these people and sharing this time and this day and these memories with them, and yet the kind of bare minimum things are being treated as if it's not just like a reasonable expectation of an adult in this big old day and age. You know, main character energy has its time, has its place, can be silly, can be about, you know, making people try and prioritize what they want in life. But I think, unfortunately, when we see the social media side of it, it's just like turning these moments that are forever and sentimental into content, and how can I make it about me? And I just think that it's really interesting that a lot of the time it takes posting to social media and getting this backlash for people to even realize it. At least with the girl wearing white, like, she was called out on the day, but you know, without having a bottle of Pinot Noir on hand, we can't really fix the dress color too quickly. A lot of the times for these people, like, there's not really a huge backlash or consequence or kind of checking of the behavior until it is posted online. But the final example I wanted to show you guys is this video where a bride posted a video where it's like, it's kind of a trend where you're like, the event starts at this time, what time will everyone show up? But for her, she's the bride, and she's like, told my bridesmaids to be at the venue by 7 a.m. Let's see what time they arrive.
Make some
As I'm sure you saw on my face just so subtly, initially you're like, yes, everyone's matching the vibe, and the people that were there just after 7, I think if it was just those people, yeah, people would be like, oh, I don't think this video would have gone viral. I don't think it would have gotten the engagement that it did. But I think those are last two examples specifically, like 7:48 and 8:53. For 7 a.m., like, are we just really bad at math? Was it daylight savings? Like, I have some questions, and I think, unfortunately, the answer is that these people were just, unfortunately, very late. A lot of people were just really shocked that it's like, you are literally, like, you're not even just a wedding guest. You are part of the bridal party. These things are structured. Like, this is very much, we gotta go, we have a schedule, we have to stick to it. So being nearly 2 hours late, and you did this for what? And it seems like Avery, who got there at 7:48, is in the comments saying, not fair, I have 10 kids, and the creator liked that. And this reply says, we can let it slide this time then, but Deborah better have 20 kids then. I think a lot of people would just kind of argue that, yes, obviously we have a lot going on, like, yes, with Ashley and her life, and there was a lot going on. No one's trying to negate that, but I do think it is interesting when people kind of expose themselves online, not literally, you know, in these situations, and then they kind of get backlash or people being like, that's not cool, and then like, oh my gosh, what? And honestly, the overwhelming reaction to this video was just people being like, this is not cool and this is disrespectful, and these are people that, you know, you care about and are important enough for you to ask to be in your wedding, and then they don't seem to be showing that care back to you and your big day. And to me, the really interesting thing is that in a lot of these instances, people are posting this content to the internet themselves, and people are really putting themselves to be criticized about these decisions, about these situations. And it's like, no, that doesn't mean you're saying hate me, be mean to me, say awful things, but to act as though these types of situations wouldn't get criticism, wouldn't upset people, wouldn't have a discourse happen around them is also not a realistic thing when posting it to the internet. Otherwise, you just, post it privately or post it for your friends. It is interesting to see how everyone reacts, and I think it is just very interesting that people are posting and kind of exposing themselves and exposing their faux pas, whether or not they're kind of aware of them or not when they post them onto social media, because it is always going to be a topic that really does incite like an emotional response, because for a lot of people, like inviting people to your wedding is an honor and a privilege and important, and a lot of money also. So to see people kind of have a disregard for that, or to try and make it about themselves, try and twist it so that they are the main character, try and sabotage, not kind of be considerate for the time, whatever example you think of, I think a lot of people just think about it from their perspective, or from the perspective of how can you not hold this with more importance. And I just really think for this final example, a lot of people just felt kind of sad for this bride. These are the people that are the most important to her, that they're in her literal bridal party, the party of the bridal, and it's almost being acted like this is too much. This is like being asked to be on time is a big crazy like bar in the sky request ? Like, I'm not gonna quabble. I'm not gonna be like, oh, someone was there at 7:03. No, of course not. I'm reasonable chats over here. But I think if the video ended at the girl that arrived at like 7:15, maybe an eyebrow or two would have been raised, but it wouldn't have gone shablam viral. But obviously, because there was someone that was nearly an hour late and someone that was nearly 2 hours late, people were just like, asking your friends to be on time for your wedding day, that's like not actually something crazy. Like, that's like kind of reasonable and fair. And I think especially as well when this kind of a video is being uploaded without context, and then this creator and the bridesmaids are being surprised that people are reacting to only the information that is being given, and we don't have any other information, so we're just reacting what we're seeing, and they're like, oh my gosh, why are people reacting to us like this? Like, this is crazy. We just gave them no context that someone was nearly 2 hours late and someone was nearly an hour late. Why are people upset? Let's be fair, let's be reasonable. Just as much as I want to hold people to a standard in the comments, I also think when you post things, and it's not just going to your close friends, to a personal or private account, if someone is to come across that out of context, how will that be interpreted? How will that come across? And I don't even think people were particularly saying anything beyond that's disrespectful, that's not cool, that's unfair. And yet they're like, why would people react like this? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Shocking. As the poster, you can't assume that people are going to know everything that's happening and why someone was late and why it's okay and why actually no one was upset, when all we got was the bare minimum of information and two people were quite significantly late. And I think people were just saying hey, that's kind of sad that your friends weren't on time for you. And a lot of people were just saying that's not cool. This is kind of your one day, the one time that you can ask this at such an important scale. And they didn't, and we don't have any reason as to why they didn't. I mean, we eventually found out that Avery had 10 kids, and maybe Deborah has 20, I don't know. Without that context, we're just not gonna know. So we're just kind of left to assume, oh, they were just late. Okay, on the biggest day, that's all about one of their bestest friends, just late. What are we supposed to do with that? But I would really love to know all of you guys' thoughts and opinions about all of these different examples and scenarios. But I would truly love to know all of you guys' thoughts and or opinions, or both, in the comments down below. I always enjoy reading them. I always enjoy seeing what you guys have to say. I feel like you guys always think of smart and funny and cool things that I don't think of, and silly jokes, and just great dialogue, great discourse being had down in these comment sections. Am I right? Am I right? But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay to the weekend, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with me between my uploads, I'm on TikTok, and I'll link my vlog channel down below. And YouTube should be recommending another one of my videos on the screen right now. But don't you worry, guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye.